Nice, French pronunciation, NIS, Nicard Occitan, Nika, classical norm, or Nisa, non-standard, pronounced Nisa, Italian, Nizza, Nizza, Greek, Nicaea Latin, Nicaea, is the fifth most populous city in France and the capital of the Alpes-Maritimes department. The metropolitan area of Nice extends beyond the administrative city limits, with a population of about 1 million on an area of 721 square kilometers, 278 square miles. Located in the French Riviera, on the southeast coast of France on the Mediterranean Sea, at the foot of the Alps, Nice is the second-largest French city on the Mediterranean coast and the second-largest city in the Provence-Alpes-Côte d'Azur region after Marseille. Nice is about 13 kilometers 8 miles from the Principality of Monaco, and its airport is a gateway to the Principality as well. The city is nicknamed Nice la Belle, Nice la Belle in Nicard, which means Nice the Beautiful, which is also the title of the unofficial anthem of Nice, written by Menica Rondelli in 1912. The area of today's Nice contains Terra Amata, an archaeological site which displays evidence of a very early use of fire. Around 350 BC, Greeks of Marseille founded a permanent settlement and called it Nicaea, after Nike, the goddess of victory. Through the ages, the town has changed hands many times. Its strategic location and port significantly contributed to its maritime strength. For centuries it was a dominion of Savoy, and was then part of France between 1792 and 1815, when it was returned to Piedmont Sardinia until its re-annexation by France in 1860. The natural beauty of the Nice area and its mild Mediterranean climate came to the attention of the English upper classes in the second half of the 18th century, when an increasing number of aristocratic families took to spending their winters there. The city's main seaside promenade, the Promenade des Anglais, walkway of the English, owes its name to visitors to the resort. The clear air and soft light have particularly appealed to notable painters, such as Marc Chagall, Henri Matisse, Niki de Saint-Phal and Armand. Their work is commemorated in many of the city's museums, including Musée Marc Chagall, Musée Matisse and Musée des Beaux-Arts. Nice has the second-largest hotel capacity in the country and it is one of its most visited cities, receiving 4 million tourists every year. It also has the third busiest airport in France, after the two main Parisian ones. It is the historical capital city of the county of Nice, Comté de Nice. History. Foundation. The first known hominid settlements in the Nice area date back about 400,000 years. The Terra Amata archaeological site shows one of the earliest uses of fire, construction of houses, and flint findings dated to around 230,000 years ago. Nice Nicaea was probably founded around 350 BC by the Greeks of Massalia, Marseille, and was given the name of Nicaea in honor of a victory over the neighboring Ligurians. Nike was the Greek goddess of victory. The city soon became one of the busiest trading ports on the Ligurian coast, but it had an important rival in the Roman town of Cemenelum, which continued to exist as a separate city until the time of the Lombard invasions. The ruins of Cemenelum are in Semis, now a district of Nice. Early development. In the 7th century, Nice joined the Genoese League formed by the towns of Liguria. In 729 the city repulsed the Saracens, but in 859 and again in 880 the Saracens pillaged and burned it, and for most of the 10th century remained masters of the surrounding country. During the Middle Ages, Nice participated in the wars and history of Italy. As an ally of Pisa it was the enemy of Genoa, and both the King of France and the Holy Roman Emperor endeavored to subjugate it, but in spite of this it maintained its municipal liberties. During the 13th and 14th centuries the city fell more than once into the hands of the Counts of Provence, but it regained its independence even though related to Genoa. Defenses. The medieval city walls surrounded the old town. The landward side was protected by the river Palin, which was later covered over and is now the tram route towards the Acropolis. The east side of the town was protected by fortifications on Castle Hill. Another river flowed into the port on the east side of Castle Hill. Engravings suggest that the port area was also defended by walls. Under monoprics in Place de Garibaldi are excavated remains of a well-defended city gate on the main road from Turin. Nice and Savoy. In 1388 the commune placed itself under the protection of the Counts of Savoy. Nice participated, directly or indirectly, in the history of Savoy until 1860. The maritime strength of Nice now rapidly increased until it was able to cope with the Barbary pirates, the fortifications were largely extended and the roads to the city improved. In 1561 Emmanuel Philibert, Duke of Savoy abolished the use of Latin as an administrative language and established the Italian language as the official language of government affairs in Nice. During the struggle between Francis I and Charles V, great damage was caused by the passage of the armies invading Provence. Pestilence and famine raged in the city for several years. In 1538, in the nearby town of Villeneuve-Loubet, through the mediation of Pope Paul III, the two monarchs concluded a 10-year truce. In 1543, Nice was attacked by the united Franco-Ottoman forces of Francis I and Barbarossa Hayreddin Pasha. In the siege of Nice, though the inhabitants repulsed the assault which followed the terrible bombardment, they were ultimately compelled to surrender, and Barbarossa was allowed to pillage the city and to carry off 2,500 captives. Pestilence appeared again in 1550 and 1580. In 1600, Nice was briefly taken by the Duke of Guise. By opening the ports of the county to all nations, and proclaiming full freedom of trade 1626, the commerce of the city was given great stimulus, the noble families taking part in its mercantile enterprises. Captured by Nicolas Catinat in 1691, Nice was restored to Savoy in 1696, but it was again besieged by the French in 1705, and in the following year its citadel and ramparts were demolished. The Treaty of Utrecht 1713 once more gave the city back to the Duke of Savoy, who was on that same occasion recognized as King of Sicily. In the peaceful years which followed, the new town was built. From 1744 until the Treaty of Aix-la-Chapelle 1748, the French and Spaniards were again in possession. In 1775 the king, who in 1718 had swapped his sovereignty of Sicily for the Kingdom of Sardinia, destroyed all that remained of the ancient liberties of the commune. Conquered in 1792 by the armies of the First French Republic, the county of Nice continued to be part of France until 1814, but after that date it reverted to the Kingdom of Piedmont-Sardinia. French Nice. After the Treaty of Turin was signed in 1860 between the Sardinian king and Napoleon III, the county was again and definitively ceded to France as a territorial reward for French assistance in the Second Italian War of Independence against Austria, which saw Lombardy united with Piedmont-Sardinia. The cession was ratified by a regional referendum. Over 25,000 electors out of a total of 30,700 were in favor of the attachment to France. Savoy was also transferred to the French crown by similar means. Giuseppe Garibaldi, born in Nice, opposed the cession to France, arguing that the ballot was rigged by the French. Many Italians from Nizza then moved to the Ligurian towns of Ventimiglia, Bordighera and Ospedaletti, giving rise to a local branch of the movement of the Italian Irredentists which considered the reacquisition of Nice to be one of their nationalist goals. In 1900, the Tramway de Nice electrified its horse-drawn streetcars and spread its network to the entire département from Menton to Cagnes-sur-Mer. By the 1930s more bus connections were added in the area. In the 1930s, Nice hosted international car racing in the Formula Libre, predecessor to Formula One, on the so-called Circuit Nice. The circuit started along the waterfront just south of the Jardin Albert I, then headed westward along the Promenade des Anglais followed by a hairpin turn at the Hotel Negresco to come back eastward and around the Jardin Albert I before heading again east along the beach on the Quai des Etats Unis. As war broke out in September 1939, Nice became a city of refuge for many displaced foreigners, notably Jews fleeing the Nazi progression into Eastern Europe. From Nice many sought further shelter in the French colonies, Morocco and North and South America. After July 1940 and the establishment of the Vichy regime, anti-Semitic aggressions accelerated the exodus, starting in July 1941 and continuing through 1942. On 26 August 1942, 655 Jews of foreign origin were rounded up by the Laval government and interned in the Avare barracks. Of these, 560 were deported to Drancy internment camp on 31 August 1942. Due to the activity of the Jewish banker Angelo Donati and of the Capuchin friar Père Marie Benoit, the local authorities hindered the application of anti-Jewish Vichy laws. The first resistants to the new regime were a group of high school seniors of the Lycée de Nice, now Lycée Massena, in September 1940, later arrested and executed in 1944 near Castellane. The first public demonstrations occurred on 14 July 1942 when several hundred protesters took to the streets along the Avenue de la Victoire and in the Place Massena. In November 1942 German troops moved into most of unoccupied France, but Italian troops moved into a smaller zone including Nice. A certain ambivalence remained among the population, many of whom were recent immigrants of Italian ancestry. However, the resistance gained momentum after the Italian surrender in 1943 when the German army occupied the former Italian zone. Reprisals intensified between December 1943 and July 1944, when many partisans were tortured and executed by the local Gestapo and the French milice. Nice was also heavily bombarded by American aircraft in preparation for the Allied landing in Provence, 1,000 dead or wounded and more than 5,600 people homeless, and famine ensued during summer 1944. American paratroopers entered the city on 30 August 1944 and Nice was finally liberated. The consequences of the war were heavy, the population decreased by 15% and economic life was totally disrupted. In the second half of the 20th century, Nice enjoyed an economic boom primarily driven by tourism and construction. Two men dominated this period: Jean Médecin, mayor for 33 years from 1928 to 1943 and from 1947 to 1965, and his son Jacques, mayor for 24 years from 1966 to 1990. Under their leadership, there was extensive urban renewal, including many new constructions. These included the convention center, theaters, new thoroughfares and expressways. The arrival of the Pieds Noirs, refugees from Algeria after 1962 independence, also gave the city a boost and somewhat changed the makeup of its population and traditional views. By the late 1980s, rumors of political corruption in the city government surfaced, and eventually formal accusations against Jacques Médecin forced him to flee France in 1990. Later arrested in Uruguay in 1993, he was extradited back to France in 1994, convicted of several counts of corruption and associated crimes and sentenced to imprisonment. On 16 October 1979, a landslide and an undersea slide caused two tsunamis that hit the western coast of Nice. These events killed between 8 and 23 people. In February 2001, European leaders met in Nice to negotiate and sign what is now the Treaty of Nice, amending the institutions of the European Union. In 2003, local chief prosecutor Éric de Montgolfier alleged that some judicial cases involving local personalities had been suspiciously derailed by the local judiciary, which he suspected of having unhealthy contacts through Masonic lodges with the defendants. A controversial official report stated later that Montgolfier had made unwarranted accusations. On 14 July 2016, a truck was deliberately driven into a crowd of people by Mohamed Lahaouij Boulal on the Promenade des Anglais. The crowd was watching a fireworks display in celebration of Bastille Day. 87 people were killed, including the perpetrator, who was shot dead by police. Another 202 were injured, with 52 in critical care and 25 in intensive care, according to the Paris prosecutor. Administration. Located in the Provence-Alpes-Côte d'Azur region, Nice is a commune and the prefecture, administrative capital, of the Alpes-Maritimes department. However, it is also the largest city in France that is not a regional capital. The much larger Marseille is its regional capital. Christian Estrosi was elected as mayor in 2008. He was re-elected for a second term in April 2014, that will end in 2020. He is a member of the Republicans, formerly the Union for a Popular Movement, the party supporting former President Nicolas Sarkozy. He resigned in June 2016. Philippe Pradel replaced him as mayor on 13 June 2016. On 16 May 2017, he became mayor again after resigning from his seat as president of the regional council. The city is divided over 9 cantons: Nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Coat of arms. The coat of arms of Nice appeared for the first time in a copy of the Regulations of Amadeus VIII, probably written around 1430. The Nice is symbolized by a red eagle on silver background, placed on three mountains, which can be described in French heraldic language as d'argent et un aigle de gueules posé sur trois coupeaux. Upon silver a red eagle is displayed, posed upon three mounds. The arms have only undergone minor changes, the eagle has become more and more stylized, it now wears a coronet for the county of Nice, and the three mountains are now surrounded by a stylized sea. The presence of the eagle, an imperial emblem, shows that these arms are related to the power of the House of Savoy. The eagle standing over the three hills is a depiction of Savoy, referring to its domination over the country around Nice. The combination of silver and red, argent and gules, is a reference to the colors of the flag of Savoy. The three mountains symbolize a territorial honor, without concern for geographic realism. Geography. Nice consists of two large bays. Villefranche-sur-Mer sits on an enclosed bay, while the main expanse of the city lies between the old port city and the Aéroport de Côte d'Azur, across a gently curving bay. The city rises from the flat beach into gentle rising hills, then is bounded by surrounding mountains that represent the southern and nearly the western extent of the Ligurian Alps range. Flora. The natural vegetation of Nice is typical for a Mediterranean landscape, with a heavy representation of broadleaf evergreen shrubs. Trees tend to be scattered but form dense forests in some areas. Large native tree species include evergreens such as holm oak, stone pine and arbutus. Many introduced species grow in parks and gardens. Palms, eucalyptus and citrus fruits are among the trees which give Nice a subtropical appearance. But there are also species familiar to temperate areas around the world. Examples include horse chestnut, linden and even Norway spruce. Climate. Nice has a hot summer Mediterranean climate Köppen, CSA, enjoying mild winters with moderate rainfall. It is one of the warmest Mediterranean climates for its latitude. Summers are warm to hot, dry, and sunny. Rainfall is rare in this season, and a typical July month only records 1 or 2 days with measurable rainfall. The temperature is typically above 20 degrees Celsius (68 degrees Fahrenheit) and frequently reaches 30 degrees Celsius (86 degrees Fahrenheit). The climate data is recorded from the airport, located just meters from the sea. Summer temperatures, therefore, are often higher in the city. The average maximum temperature in the warmest months of July and August is about 27 degrees Celsius (81 degrees Fahrenheit). The highest recorded temperature was 37.7 degrees Celsius (99.9 degrees Fahrenheit) on 1 August 2006. Autumn generally starts sunny in September and becomes more cloudy and rainy towards October, while temperatures usually remain above 20 degrees Celsius (68 degrees Fahrenheit) until November, where days start to cool down to around 17 degrees Celsius (63 degrees Fahrenheit). Winters are characterized by cool days 11 to 17 degrees Celsius (52 to 63 degrees Fahrenheit), cool nights 4 to 9 degrees Celsius (39 to 48 degrees Fahrenheit), and variable weather. Days can be either sunny and dry or damp and rainy. The average minimum temperature in January is around 5 degrees Celsius (41 degrees Fahrenheit). Frost is unusual and snowfalls are rare. The most recent snowfall in Nice was on 26 February 2018. Nice also received a dusting of snow in 2005, 2009, and 2010. Spring starts cool and rainy in late March, and Nice becomes increasingly warm and sunny around June. Economy and tourism. Nice is the seat of the Chambre de commerce et d'industrie Nice-Côte d'Azur, which manages the port of Nice. Investors from France and abroad can benefit from the assistance of the Côte d'Azur Economic Development Agency Team Côte d'Azur. Nice has one conference center, the Palais des Congrès Acropolis. The city also has several business parks, including Lorena's, Nice the Plain, Nice Meridia, Saint Isidore, and the Northern Forum. In addition, the city features several shopping centers such as Nice Étoile, Nice TNL, Nice Linguistière, Northern Forum, Saint Isidore, the Trinity, around the Auchan hypermarket, and Cap 3000 in Saint-Laurent du Var. Sophia Antipolis is a technology park northwest of Antibes. Much of the park is within the commune of Valbonne. Established between 1970 and 1984, it primarily houses companies in the fields of computing, electronics, pharmacology and biotechnology. Several institutions of higher learning are also located here, along with the European headquarters of W3C. The Nice metropolitan area had a GDP amounting to $47.7 billion, and $34,480 per capita, slightly lower than the French average. Transport. Port. The main port of Nice is also known as Lympia Port. This name comes from the Lympia spring which fed a small lake in a marshy zone where work on the port was started in 1745. Today this is the principal harbor installation of Nice. There is also a small port in the Carrez district. The port is the first port cement manufacturer in France, linked to the treatment plants of the rollers of the Valley of Palan. Fishing activities remain but the number of professional fishermen is now less than 10. Nice, being the point of continental France nearest to Corsica, has ferry connections with the island developed with the arrival of NGV, navires à grande vitesse, or high-speed craft. Two companies provide the connections, Corsica Ferries, Sardinia Ferries and Moby Lines. Located in front of the port, the place Cuisine has been renamed Place of Corsica. Airport. Nice Côte d'Azur Airport is the third busiest airport in France after Charles de Gaulle Airport and Orly Airport, both in Paris. It is on the Promenade des Anglais, near l'Arenas and has two terminals. Due to its proximity to the Principality of Monaco, it also serves as that city-state's airport. A helicopter service provided by Heli Air Monaco and Monacair links the city and airport. It averages 39 flights a day. It is run by the ACA Aéroports Côte d'Azur, which includes Cannes, Mandelieu Airport and La Mole, Saint-Tropez Airport. Rail. The main railway station is Niceville, served both by high-speed TGV trains connecting Paris and Nice in less than 6 hours and by local commuter tour services. Marseille is reached in 2.5 hours. Nice also has international connections to Italy, Switzerland, Belgium, and Russia. Nice is also served by several suburban stations including Nice Street Augustin, Nice Street Rock and Nice Requier. Nice is also the southern terminus of the independently run Chemins de Fer de Provence railway line which connects the city with Digne in approximately 4 hours. A metro-like suburban service is also provided on the southern part of the line. Tram. Tramway de Nice began operating horse-drawn trams in 1879. Electrified in 1900, the combined length of the network reached 144 kilometers (89.48 miles) by 1930. The replacement of trams with trolleybuses began in 1948 and was completed in 1953. In 2007, the new Tramway de Nice linked the northern and eastern suburbs via the city center. 2 other lines are currently in the planning stage. The second line will run east-west from Place Massena to the Nice Côte d'Azur Airport, extending to Cagnes-sur-Mer and La Porte, while the third line will provide a connection to the future TGV Nice-Saint-Augustin Linguistière rail station. Road. The A8 auto route and the Route Nationale 7 pass through the Nice agglomeration, linking Marseille with Italy. Sites. The Promenade des Anglais, Promenade of the English, is a promenade along the Baie des Anges, Bay of the Angels, which is a bay of the Mediterranean, in Nice. Before Nice was urbanized, the coastline at Nice was just bordered by a deserted stretch of shingle beach covered with large pebbles. The first houses were located on higher ground well away from the sea, as wealthy tourists visiting Nice in the 18th century did not come for the beach, but for the gentle winter weather. The areas close to the water were home to Nice's dockworkers and fishermen. In the second half of the 18th century, many wealthy English people took to spending the winter in Nice, enjoying the panorama along the coast. When a particularly harsh winter up north brought an influx of beggars to Nice, some of the rich Englishmen proposed a useful project for them, the construction of a walkway chemin de promenade along the sea. The city of Nice, intrigued by the prospect of a pleasant promenade, greatly increased the scope of the work. The promenade was first called the Chemin des Angles, the English way, by the Niçois in their native dialect, Nissart. After the annexation of Nice by France in 1860, it was rechristened La Promenade des Anglais, replacing the former Nissart name with its French translation. The Hôtel Negresco on the Promenade des Anglais was named after Henri Negresco (1868–1920), who had the palatial hotel constructed in 1912. In keeping with the conventions of the time, when the Negresco first opened in 1913, its front opened on the side opposite the Mediterranean. Another place worth mentioning is the small street parallel to the Promenade des Anglais, leading from Nice's downtown, beginning at Place Masséna and running parallel to the promenade in the direction of the airport for a short distance of about 4 blocks. This section of the city is referred to as the Zone Piétonne, or pedestrian zone. Cars are not allowed, with exception to delivery trucks, making this avenue a popular walkway. Old Nice is also home to the Opéra de Nice. It was constructed at the end of the 19th century under the design of François Aune, to replace King Charles Félix's Macaroni Theatre. Today, it is open to the public and provides a regular program of performances. Other sites include Château, Monument aux Morts, the Port, Cours Célia, Jardin botanique de la Ville de Nice, Botanical Garden, Musée Masséna, Marché aux Fleurs, Old Nice, Grand Hotel Impérial, Fort of Mont-Alban. Squares. Place Masséna. The Place Masséna is the main square of the city. Before the Palin River was covered over, the Pont Neuf was the only practicable way between the old town and the modern one. The square was thus divided into 2 parts, north and south, in 1824. With the demolition of the Masséna Casino in 1979, the Place Masséna became more spacious and less dense and is now bordered by red ochre buildings of Italian architecture. The recent rebuilding of the tramline gave the square back to the pedestrians, restoring its status as a real Mediterranean square. It is lined with palm trees and stone pines, instead of being the rectangular roundabout of sorts it had become over the years. Since its construction, the Place Masséna has always been the spot for great public events. It is used for concerts, and particularly during the summer festivals, the Corso Carnavalesque Carnival Parade, in February, the military procession of the 14th of July, Bastille Day, or other traditional celebrations and banquets. The Place Masséna is a 2-minute walk from the Promenade des Anglais, Old Town, Town Centre, and Albert I Garden, Jardin Albert IER. It is also a large crossroads between several of the main streets of the city: Avenue Jean Médecin, Avenue Félix Fauré, Boulevard Jean Jaurès, Avenue de Verdun and Rue Giuffredo. Place Garibaldi. The Place Garibaldi also stands out for its architecture and history. It is named after Giuseppe Garibaldi, hero of the Italian unification, born in Nice in 1807 when Nice was part of the Napoleonic Empire, before reverting to the Kingdom of Piedmont-Sardinia. The square was built at the end of the 18th century and served as the entry gate to the city and end of the road to Turin. It took several names between 1780 and 1870: Placa Peruliera, Place de la République, Place Napoléon, Place d'Armes, Place Saint-Augustin, Piazza Vittorio, and finally Place Garibaldi in September 1870. A statue of Garibaldi, who was fiercely in favor of the union of Nice with Italy, stands in the center of the square. The recent rebuilding of the area to accommodate the new tramway line gave mostly the entire square to pedestrians. The architecture is in line with the Turin model, which was the norm of urban renewal throughout the entire realm of the House of Savoy. It is a crossroads between the Vieux Nice Old Town and the town center. Place Garibaldi is close to the eastern districts of Nice, Port Lympia, Lympia Harbor, and the TNL Commercial Center. This square is also a junction of several important streets, the Boulevard Jean Jaurès, the Avenue de la République, the Rue Cuisine and the Rue Catherine Ségarain. Place Rossetti. Entirely enclosed and pedestrianized, this square is located in the heart of the Old Town. With typical buildings in red and yellow ochres surrounding the square, the Cathédrale Saint-Réparate and the fountain in the center, Place Rossetti is a must-see spot in the Old Town. By day, the place is invaded by the terraces of traditional restaurants and the finest ice cream makers. By night, the environment changes radically, with tourists and youths flocking to the square, where music reverberates on the walls of the small square. The square's lighting at night gives it a magical aspect. Place Rossetti is in the center of the Old Town, streets Jesus, Rossetti, Mascanat and the Pont Vieux, Old Bridge. Cours Celia. The Cours Celia is situated parallel to the Quai des États Unis. In the past, it belonged to the upper classes. It is probably the most traditional square of the town, with its daily flower market. The Cours Celia also opens on the Palais des Rois Sardes, Palace of the Kings of Sardinia. In the present, the court is mostly a place of entertainment. Place du Palais. As its name indicates, the Place du Palais is where the Palais de la Justice law courts of Nice is located. On this square, there also is the Palais Rusca, which also belongs to the Justice Department, home of the Tribunal de Grande Instance. The square is also notable due to the presence of the city clock. Today, the Place du Palais is alive day and night. Often, groups of youths will hang out on the steps leading to the Palais de la Justice. Concerts, films, and other major public events frequently occur in this space. It is situated halfway between the Cours Celia and Place Masséna. Religious. Saint-Réparate Cathedral, 17th century. Russian Orthodox Cathedral. Notre Dame de Nice. Saint Jean d'Arc Church, 20th century. Sports and entertainment. Stade du Ré, Allianz Riviera, Stade Charles Herman, Palais Nicaea, Nice Jazz Festival. Sport. The city's major football club is OGC Nice. They play in Ligue 1, the top division in France. The Olympic Nice Swimming Club French, Olympic Nice Natation is also notable. Camille Muffet and Yannick Agnel used to train there for example. Nice hosts the finish of the annual cycling race Paris-Nice. The Nice Hockey Côte d'Azur club play in Ligue Magnus, the top men's division of the French ice hockey pyramid. The Stade Niçois is an amateur rugby club playing in Fédéral 2. Population. Population change, see database. Sources: LDH, EHESS, Cuisine until 1962, INSEE database from 1968, population without double counting and municipal population from 2006. The metropolitan area of Nice, defined by INSEE, is home to 888,784 inhabitants, fifth most populous in France, and its urban area totals 933,080 inhabitants, which makes it the sixth largest in France. Since the 1970s, the number of inhabitants has not changed significantly. The relatively high migration to Nice is compensated by a natural negative growth of the population. Observatory. The Observatoire de Nice, Nice Observatory, is located on the summit of Mont Gros. The observatory was established in 1879 by the banker Raphael Bischoffsheim. The architect was Charles Garnier, and Gustave Eiffel designed the main dome. The 76 cm 30-inch refractor telescope that became operational in 1888 was at that time the world's largest telescope. Culture. Terra Amata, an archaeological site dating from the Lower Paleolithic Age, is situated near Nice. Nice itself was established by the ancient Greeks. There was also an independent Roman city, Simenulum, near Nice, where the hill of Simis is located. It is an archaeological site with treasures, of which only a small part has been excavated. The excavated site includes thermal baths, arenas and Roman road. Since the 2nd century AD, the light of the city has attracted many famous painters and sculptors such as Chagall, Matisse, Niki de Saint-Phal, Klein, Arman and Cosneau. Nice inspired many composers and intellectuals in different countries, e.g. Berlioz, Rossini, Nietzsche etc. Nice also has numerous museums of all kinds: Musée Marc Chagall, Musée Matisse, arenas of Simis containing Roman ruins, Musée des Beaux-Arts, Musée International d'Art Naïf Anatole Jakovsky, Musée Terra Amata, Museum of Asian Art, Musée d'Art Moderne et d'Art Contemporain, which devotes much space to the well-known École of Nice, Museum of Natural History, Musée Masséna, Naval Museum and Galerie des Ponchettes. Being a vacation resort, Nice hosts many festivals throughout the year, such as the Carnaval de Nice and the Nice Jazz Festival. Nice has a distinct culture due to its unique history. The local language Nicard Nisart is an Occitan dialect, but some Italian scholars argue that it is a Ligurian dialect. It is still spoken by a substantial minority. Strong Italian and, to a lesser extent, Corsican influences make it more intelligible to Italians than other extant Provençal dialects. In the past, Nice welcomed many immigrants from Italy, who continue to make up a large proportion of the population, as well as Spanish and Portuguese immigrants. However, in the past few decades immigration has been open to include immigrants from all over the world, particularly those from former northern and western African colonies, as well as Southeast Asia. Traditions are still alive, especially in folk music and dances. The most famous dance is the farandole. Since 1860 a cannon, based at the chateau east of Old Nice, is shot at 12 o'clock sharp. The detonation can be heard almost all over the city. This tradition goes back to Sir Thomas Coventry, who intended to remind the citizens of having lunch on time. Cuisine. The cuisine of Nice is especially close to those of Provence but also Liguria and Piedmont and uses local ingredients, olive oil, anchovies, fruit and vegetables, but also those from more remote regions, in particular from Northern Europe, because ships which came to pick up olive oil arrived full of food products, such as dried haddock. Nice has a few local dishes. There is a local tart made with onions and anchovies, or anchovy paste, named pissaladière. Soca is a type of pancake made from chickpea flour. Farcise niçoise is a dish made from vegetables stuffed with a mixture of breadcrumbs, meat, generally sausage and ground beef, and herbs, and salade niçoise is a tomato salad with green peppers of the corn variety, baked eggs, tuna or anchovies, and olives. Local meat comes from neighboring valleys, such as the Sheep of Sisteron. Local fish, such as mullets, bream, sea urchins, and anchovies alevins, are used to a great extent, so much so that it has given birth to a proverb, "Fish are born in the sea and die in oil." Examples of Niçois specialties include beignets de fleurs de courgettes, ratatouille, picade, pissaladière, pan bagnet, soca, soupe au pisto, torte de blettes, daube, farcise, salade niçoise. Education. University of Nice Sophia Antipolis, Institut Euracom, École des Hautes Études Commerciales du Nord, École pour l'informatique et les nouvelles technologies, Villa Arson, ESRA Film School, Institut Supérieur Européen de Formation par l'Action. Supinfo. Schema Business School. International relations. Twin towns, sister cities. Nice is twinned with. Notable people. Honorary citizens. People awarded the honorary citizenship of Nice are. See also. References. Further reading. Sykes, Colonel. Statistics of Nice Maritime. Journal of the Statistical Society of London 18.1 1855, 34-73. Online. Herbermann, Charles, ed. 1913. Diocese of Nice. Catholic Encyclopedia. New York, Robert Appleton Company. External links. Official website of the City of Nice in French. Official website of Nice Metropolis in French. Visitors and Convention Bureau Nice in French, in English. Nice at Curlie, France. FR, Nice, official website for tourism in France.